Well, more often than not these days, we've been talking about people losing their jobs, struggling to make ends meet, and cutting back on spending. Well, long gone are the days of supersizing, that's for sure. Today, we're going to focus, though, on the less is more mindset. And joining me now to talk a little bit about that is Bob Kubey, Director, Center of Media Studies at Rutgers. Thank you so much for being here.
I'm pleased to be here.
All right, so much bad news out there right now, and it really weighs down on everything, on just your mindset every day. You know, I heard something recently on the radio, actually, that the recession is made up of two things. It's financial and it's psychological at this point, and it's kind of self-fulfilling. So how do you get out of that?
Well, I don't want to say to turn off Channel 12 or any media.
We would never say that.
We would never say that. But the media are bringing us down to some degree, and there was a very good New York Times piece on this not long ago. So one thing is to tune some of that out and realize you're going to weather the storm some way, somehow, and to be tuned into it on an every second-by-second basis is driving yours truly nuts. But what I want to talk about in part is that there are a lot of ways to make yourself happier that don't cost us money. I mean, we can't control Wall Street, we can't control what's going on in Afghanistan, and we can control how much we spend, but we also need to recognize that what makes us happiest is often free, or if not free, doesn't cost much money at all.
So the question is, what types of things? You know, the best things in life are free, so what are they?
Well, you know, you just have to ask yourself and remind yourself. And one thing I'm going to suggest that people do, and maybe I'll suggest they remind themselves at the end, is we lose track of it. We get so caught up in what we do every day. We lose track of what our bliss is or what our passions are. And we certainly get off track. So ask yourself, does it really make me happier to go to dinner with one other person for $150 or something like that? Or does it make me happier just to walk my dog or to play with my kid? Does it make me happier when I'm down in the basement doing woodworking or when I'm quilting? When I'm reading a book that just totally engrosses me and I can't put it down? Remember, there's this place called the library. And the library is free. Yeah. You can get free internet, free books. People often don't remember you can get free CDs, free DVDs. You can run into people who you like to talk to. It doesn't cost you anything. You can go for a walk, you can go for a hike, you can go collect butterflies, you can go back through your photo albums and reorganize them. You could write your own memoir at the time of the economic crash of 2009.
Well, these days, people are being forced to cut back, and they're being forced to think about other ways to entertain themselves, to entertain the kids, and keep everybody occupied. So this would be a very good time for them to, I think, look inwardly and to find some of these things that you're talking about that would actually occupy their time, some things that they would enjoy. But, you know, it's easier said than done because there are so many temptations out there. We know that. We live in a technological age. Everybody's got to be tied to a BlackBerry, right? And they want to see the latest techno gizmo or go out and buy it from the store the minute it comes out. So, you know, how do you resist?
Well, first of all, exercise some self-control. Do you really need the latest new model of that or this? I mean, do you really need that? Ask yourself the next time you do spend the money on the expensive dinner or on the iPod 6Box 3 or something. I just made up a new product. Does it really make you happier? And it may well not. Ask yourself how many times you've blown money, and then realize it didn't really make me happier.
In many cases, you blow some money, in the end, it makes you a little depressed.
Oh, let me add to this. There's research that shows that people who make a lot of money or just have a lot of money are actually less happy. I have a friend who's worth many, many millions of dollars. Now, he's actually pretty happy, but he says many of my friends, the more money they have, the more dysfunctional the family is. They've spoiled their kids rotten. They have no regulation on their children sometimes. People think that money buys them happiness. I mean, Chekhov's plays, I mean, sorry, he was just a Russian playwright. Everyone's rich, and someone always commits suicide in the final act because they're so bored in the countryside, they don't know what to do with all that money. It can create a burden to have lots of money. I'd like to have it just to do the experiment. But
just to put the record straight there. All right, now let's talk about this concept of flow. What is that?
Well, flow is a term that a guy named Mihai Csikszentmihalyi coined 25 odd years ago. I wrote a book with him. Flow is the intense engagement in an activity where you almost forget, where time passes so well that you don't even know that time's passing. Sometimes even students will say when they're writing a term paper, if they get involved in it enough, I can't believe I looked up and 4 hours had passed. I mean, it may not be that. It may be a good game of tennis. The main thing is you need your skill level to meet the challenge. And that's why video games are so engaging, because the video game challenges you at just the right skill level, and you stay in flow all the time.
Well, basically, we're challenging people to go with the flow. I wish we had more time. Bob Kubey from Rutgers, thank you so much for joining us. Good to see you.
My pleasure.
And if you have any questions or comments about today's interview, send them to me at itsyourmoney@news12.com.